Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Master, you wish to go to Star Tower? Within the villa, Heavy Arrow carried a tray of dishes, his expression shocked. Don't you wish to leave the outer region wars? Why are you going to Star Tower? Luo Feng sat on the sofa and sipped his wine smiling. I've already reached my contribution points quota. But since I've come all the way here, how can I not go to the most dangerous place in this battlefield? Wouldn't it be a waste? In terms of danger level, Yangji continent is a whole level below Star Tower. It is indeed so. Heavy Arrow said respectfully, there are very few emperors on Yangji continent, however there are hundreds of thousands of emperors there on Star Tower. So many. Luo Feng was shocked. Our Hong Alliance only has a total of over 3 million. This is only the 7th battlefield Star Tower, how can so many emperors be there? Even though he had planned on going, he hadn't fully studied up on Star Tower. It's not a lot. Heavy Arrow said, the Hong Alliance and humanity itself are two different things. Anyone who joins the Hong Alliance is from a race that completely ally themselves with humanity. Any battle or war is completely controlled within humanity's leadership. The outer region war human camp is completely different. This is a lax camp, the Hong Alliance is but a part of it. With trillions of races in the universe, and so many warriors here in the wars, many races that have no relationship with the Hong Alliance would mix with humanity to be sent out here too. Hence, it may be said to be the war of the 4 pinnacle races. In truth, it's really the war of countless other races. Of course the number of warriors would be absurd. The number of emperors in total in the outer region wars, even if it's only 1% of all the emperors in the universe, it would still be terrifying. This is one reason. Another reason is, Star Tower is a very special place. It's more dangerous than others and attracts more warriors. Heavy Arrow said, as for its specialty, if you check, you'll find out easily. Luo Feng sat on his sofa and looked ahead, ordering, projection. A virtual projection appeared in mid-air and Luo Feng's arm screen connected with it. He began to search through information on the virtual universe network. A majestic 9-story tower appeared on the projection, completely square-shaped and similar to some towers in China on Earth. Surrounding this majestic tower were countless nebular whirlpools that were simply mesmerizing. Star Tower, 9 light-years tall, it had been here trillions of years ago when the battlefield was forged. Over countless years, it had absorbed endless amounts of energy from the universe, forming the 9 whirlpool nebulas about. They seemed like nebulas but were in fact terrifying energy whirlpools. 9 nebular whirlpools, the ones closest to the tower was the strongest. The 4th whirlpool, even emperors could barely withstand it. Only a knight could safely enter. The 7th, even a knight would perish. The ancient Star Tower was completely black, its material was unknown, it was completely undamaged from the 4 pinnacles forging the battlefield, even the powerful universe masters couldn't damage it. There were the sealed stars within the tower, every sealed star was about the size of a normal star. After melding, it could be used to seal warriors, after defeating them they could be sealed within this stars. The enemy would never be able to break out. Such a treasure, even the knights would go crazy for. And within the 9 light-year tall tower, it produced countless sealed stars, just like raindrops. Even though they were true treasures, they were common within the tower. It couldn't be helped. Unless the sealed stars released themselves, even the knights had no way to forcefully take them out. Information poured in as Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. This. He was shocked. Even knights would die from the nebular whirlpools. And, there are countless knight-level treasure sealed stars? Right. Heavy Arrow exclaimed, I heard that the powerful universe masters can safely enter the 9 nebular whirlpools. As for the sealed stars, look at the pictures behind, they do show many of them within. I've been exploring Star Tower for many years too, I've seen hundreds of them, yet I cannot obtain them, unless they break off themselves, otherwise there's no way to get them. I heard the absolute beings of the 4 pinnacle races had a huge war when they first discovered the Star Tower. Huge war. Luo Feng was curious. Even though his status was high, he had only lived for a few thousand years, he naturally didn't know as many stories as an ancient being like Heavy Arrow Emperor. Heavy Arrow nodded. When the 4 pinnacle races forged the battlefield back then, they picked a distant star field and began their sweep. When they discovered Star Tower, those knights in charge of the sweep discovered how terrifying the 9 nebular whirlpools were, discovering that their attacks had no effect on the tower. They immediately regarded it as treasure. I heard they called the universe masters of their race over, for this Star Tower. The 4 pinnacle races had a huge war. I heard countless knights fell. As to who won, nobody knows. I only know that even the great universe masters couldn't do anything about the tower, leaving it here for countless years after. Ah! Luo Feng nodded. The treasures could grow in size. However, most were limited, like the Showu wings, it could reach as wide as light years outside his body. However, the prerequisite was his own strength. This star tower was 9 light-years tall, it produced countless sealed stars, but even universe masters couldn't deal with it. The countless races in the universe all have this saying, Star Tower is a unique treasure of the universe. Heavy Arrow exclaimed, it was a treasure that even universe masters would go crazy for. However, even within trillions of years in that space, no one was able to forcefully take it away. This was why it became renowned. Impressive! Luo Feng exclaimed. An ownerless tower, able to form nebular whirlpools and easily destroy knights, causing the 4 pinnacle races to fight madly for it. However, even after that, no one was able to take it away. Treasures on the same level as the ancient clock were countless within. Enough to make countless warriors go crazy for. Pinnacle races are the strongest races in the universe. Heavy Arrow said, the 4 races, even they weren't able to take it away. This has made countless warriors deduce that relying on brute force alone is useless. The tower should be awaiting a master that was suitable. Or, that no one was worthy enough to be its master. Damn! Luo Feng choked. There are countless rumors, but every warrior hopes that they may be the lucky owner of the Star Tower. Its reasoning is still unclear. He smiled, and because countless warriors have this hope, there are many emperors around the Star Tower. And, the Star Tower would occasionally break off one of its sealed stars. Every sealed star is a true treasure capable of sealing away enemies, enough to make emperors go crazy for. Plus, even the universe masters are unable to destroy the area. Naturally, this became a pinnacle battleground. Luo Feng nodded. There were treasures suited for universe masters in the universe, like the Showu wings, though it had little effect. Those special items that they used for battle, it was normal for them to be virtually indestructible. Widen my horizons! Luo Feng exclaimed, I have to go take a look. Heavy Arrow, let's go. Luo Feng got up. We are leaving now? Heavy Arrow was shocked. Right. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with excitement. Yes, master. Heavy Arrow replied respectfully. They traveled in the dark universe with the Yunmo planet ship for 2 days, finally reaching the closest travel point to Star Tower. Ripples appeared in the space and a malevolent triangular blood-red ship appeared. Within the control room, silver-winged and armored Luo Feng stood alone. He had placed Heavy Arrow within his world ring. In terms of battle strength, Luo Feng wasn't too weak. He was strong enough to explore Star Tower. If he encountered danger, only then would he let Heavy Arrow out. Revealing your trump card too early wasn't a wise thing to do. An automaton child jumped excited beside Luo Feng, pointing at the space ahead. Luo Feng, look, Star Tower, what a big Star Tower, 9 light-years tall. This tower is so much bigger than those on Yangji continent. We are so far from it and yet it is already unbelievable. Almost like it blocked off half of the universe, the tall majestic tower floated there. The resplendent nebular whirlpools circled about the tower, madly swallowing endless amounts of energy. These 9 whirlpools were beautiful and also a warrior's nightmare. Even knights would die within. Unbelievable, truly unbelievable. Luo Feng looked at the Star Tower and muttered. Why so shocked? Didn't you read up on it? Is there a need to be so stunned? The automaton child Barbata mocked beside him. Luo Feng was completely stunned. When they successfully came out of universe travel, he felt a powerful calling instantly descend on him. That calling exceeded that of the soldier, general and king armor, even more than the nameless manual metal board. It caused very cell in his body to shiver, to the point where his soul was shaking. A treasure like the nameless manual is calling me? Luo Feng couldn't believe it. The tower didn't have a master that controlled it. Since its 9 nebular whirlpools were incredibly destructive, it was obvious why this tower was considered a legendary tower. However, for it to generate such a powerful calling on Luo Feng? Can I get the Star Tower? Can I become its master? Luo Feng didn't dare believe it, but the calling that he sensed in his soul was very evident. It was obviously coming from the tower. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. The automaton child beside him Barbata shouted, why are you spacing out? Nothing. Luo Feng took a deep breath and calmed down. At this critical moment, it was crucial to remain calm and not let the calling get to him. The Star Tower has been here for over 1 trillion years. Even the universe masters couldn't handle it. It is legendary and priceless. Luo Feng thought. Teacher gave the Showu wings to me, but the Star Tower, with its endless supply of sealed stars within, teacher couldn't give me something like that. It's obvious how much stronger this star tower is than the wings. If such a treasure were to land in my hands, would I dare use it? Luo Feng thought. Something capable of making the 4 pinnacle races fight over it. The moment I'm discovered to have it, many universe masters would rush over. Even if they couldn't control it, they would very likely make me their sole slave to control the tower through me. Strength and treasure were interdependent. Without strength, one didn't have the right to have such a treasure. The Shorwu wings were a thing that only the primal Chaos City leader knew about in the vast universe. No one else could recognize its abilities. Hence the city leader dared to give it to him. The Star Tower. Its reputation was huge. In the vast universe, amongst trillions of races, who didn't know of the tower? If Luo Feng didn't have sufficient strength to take it, it would be a disaster. Acquiring it would leave him with only one choice, that was to hide it and wait till his strength rose. Only when he didn't have to fear the universe masters could he use it openly. I'm thinking too much, let's head over and take a look first. At least this proves one thing, that the tower is related to the Nameless Manual. Luo Feng sat in the Yunmo planet ship and swiftly headed towards the tower. The tower seemed close, yet it was incredibly far away. Looking at the tower that blocked off almost half of the entire universe, the ship that flew close to light speed took about 10 more days to actually reach it. Even though he could easily use Heavy Arrow to teleport over, because the calling of the tower was messing with Luo Feng's mind, he forced himself to fly these 10 days to calm himself down. The Star Tower itself had the nebular whirlpools circling it. The base of it, however, didn't have any. The lowest level one had 9 entrances, and many other race emperors and officials came to try their luck. We've arrived. A silver beam of light stopped. Silver-winged and armored Luo Feng stopped at the entrance. Before the entrance, it was impossible to see the end of it. How high was 9 light years? Compared to the sun, it was still a looming mountain. Let's see if it can recognize me as its master. Luo Feng took a deep breath, as he was incredibly nervous, calming himself down as his cells within burned with rage. He extended his hand to gently touch the huge, over 1 million kilometer tall entrance door. The black door was ice cold, and Luo Feng was filled with anticipation as he touched it. Back then, the soldier and general armor automatically entered his body and was easy to control. He frowned. There was no reaction from the door at all. Recognize me. He sent a thread of spirit energy into the tower. However, it was like a drop of water falling into the ocean, instantly swallowed up. The tower remained the same, and Luo Feng had no reaction from it whatsoever. He was somewhat anxious, trying with blood, changing his position, going to another door. Basically, he tried everything possible. Failure, and still failure. What's going on? How can there be no reaction at all? Even if I cannot control it, it should still have some reaction. Even the Shorwu wings I got didn't act this way. He was very curious. I feel like the entire tower is calling out to me strongly. However, no matter what I try, there's no reaction. A silhouette appeared from the distance behind Luo Feng. He flashed beside Luo Feng. Blade River Emperor? A passionate shout resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. It was a malevolent-looking other race warrior with 3 curved horns and fangs, with a lizard tail on its back. It also had 4 legs and 2 arms. Luo Feng instantly recognized him, smiling. Vulture Emperor. Vulture was a renowned pinnacle emperor within the 24th base. With Luo Feng's memory, he naturally recalled him easily. Haha, what a coincidence. Vulture smiled, looking even more malevolent than before. It could only be blamed on his race's appearance. Maybe to him, he thought that he was smiling very happily and being friendly. I've heard of your incident before, and always wanted to meet you. It's such a coincidence for me to meet you here at Star Tower. Were you trying to get it to recognize you as its owner earlier? Luo Feng was stunned. Give me a second, I'll give it a shot too. Vulture went to the side and tried all sorts of methods on it, be it blood, or spirit imprint, etc. After a while, he turned and shook his head. Damn, looks like I don't have the luck. Any warrior that comes here for the first time, always gives it a shot. However, over countless years, no one has ever succeeded. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. I failed too. Blade River Emperor, how about we explore this Star Tower together? He suggested. There are many dangers within the tower, and the tower itself is dangerous. Along with hundreds of thousands of emperors, the battles can get terrifying. This invite was based on strength. Vulture had obviously not invited over by anyone when he came, and the name Blade River Emperor was well renowned now. Vulture naturally wanted to have him on his side. No thanks. Luo Feng smiled and rejected. Vulture didn't push it. they were after all from different races with their own mindsets and secrets etc., he naturally wouldn't ask further. He smiled and said, "Then I'll head in first." After which he became a blur and rushed into the tower. Luo Feng waited a while before stepping in. After confirming that the tower had a special connection with him, having other warriors around would make it troublesome. Luo Feng would rather head in alone. He even had his slave Heavy Arrow, why would he need a pinnacle emperor to go along with him? He walked within the vast tower, each step crossing tens of thousands of kilometers. His silhouette was simply a blur as he swiftly progressed. He could hear rumbling within the tower. He had checked up quite a bit on the tower before and chatted with Heavy Arrow for a while. Hence, he was clear about its construct within. The Star Tower was a massive skyscraper with many rooms within. Naturally, each room was actually a forbidden space, and every one of them was secretly linked to each other. Also, the countless forbidden spaces would shift about occasionally, meaning even though staying inside of the Star Tower meant that one didn't move, as time flowed, the location of the tower would shift about. Forbidden spaces. Luo Feng was currently in one of these forbidden space. The pathway before had already sealed up and vanished behind him. This was an endless desert space, and at the edges, there were formless barriers that stopped anyone from getting close. Scanning devices, world projection, spirit energy scan, they can only be used within a forbidden space, and would be unable to reach outside or to another space. Teleportation can only be used within here too. I cannot teleport to another forbidden space. Luo Feng was clear on this point. Getting out was easy. Using God Country teleportation would allow him to leave the Star Tower immediately. If he didn't need to, he would have to travel within the many forbidden spaces, until he found the pathway between two spaces. Star Tower, 9 light-years tall, it holds countless forbidden spaces. Luo Feng looked about at this space. Rumble. The entire desert began to shake. Luo Feng was shocked as he turned to look. All of the sand was shaking violently as a huge object seemed to climb out from the sand. I've never heard of Heavy Arrow talking about this. Luo Feng quickly summoned Heavy Arrow out. Heavy Arrow appeared beside him and said respectfully, "Master." Simultaneously, he noticed the shaking of the sand and his expression changed. Such a huge disturbance. "Master, the Star Tower is filled with dangers, and every forbidden space has its own dangers. Only they are normally dormant. Even if triggered, they have different levels of danger. The most dangerous thing about the tower is still mostly warriors killing amongst themselves. However, once the dangers of the rooms come out, they are terrifying. Such a huge disturbance means more danger. Master, did you just come in? Why does this forbidden space have such a huge disturbance? This is the first forbidden room I entered." Luo Feng looked at the sand. The sand grew upwards, almost like a wild beast awakening. Hua hua. Countless sand particles fell off and a red armored being rose from within. Over 1,000 kilometers with a blur of over 10,000 sharp blades, a centipede-like metal creature appeared. Its jade-green eyes were looking at Luo Feng, and filled with killing intent. This 1,000 kilometers grade forbidden guard? Heavy Arrow's eyes stared wide. He turned to Luo Feng. "Master, you actually attracted a 1,000 kilometers grade forbidden guard in your first forbidden room? I've been here over 10,000 years and been through countless rooms. The strongest I've ever encountered is only a 100 kilometers grade guard." Luo Feng frowned. "I definitely felt a strong calling from the tower, yet I was unable to make myself its master, and there was no special reaction. However, the first room I entered, such a strong forbidden guard appeared. At least this is better than no reaction at all." Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow were like two tiny ants, looking up at the huge forbidden guard. "According to my research, the forbidden guards are metal automaton puppets." Luo Feng muttered. "Even though they are just puppets, they are extremely advanced, and are unaffected by soul attacks. Normally it's very hard to actually destroy their core within." "Master." Heavy Arrow looked at the huge fiery red centipede in the stand. "Communicating mentally, it's quite impossible to destroy it and soul attacks are ineffective. Even though its energy core is very sturdy and hard to disrupt, we have only one choice, and that's to shake it enough to destroy its core within." "I know." Luo Feng nodded, his eyes fixed on the guard. Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow watched the centipede. The huge centipede gazed down at them almost like a lion or tiger glaring at shivering rabbits, like it was mocking them. Howl. An ear-piercing cackle resounded from its throat. The sound itself rippled strongly throughout at light speed towards Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow. This caused their brains to shake from within. When Luo Feng awoke from the shock, the centipede had already vanished from its spot and appeared above them. The huge body was almost like a cloud that covered them from above, crushing downwards. The blur of claws along surrounded and began to attack the two of them. Tear! Tens of claws were aiming at them, and every one of these were tens of kilometers long. They were thin, sharp and long blades with 9 forks each. Each blade was taller than Earth's tallest mountains came slashing at them. They rotated like a meat grinder, the universe space was easily torn apart. Humph! Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade and snorted coldly as he rushed into the sky and unleashed his blade work, heading straight towards the huge body. A silver river slash appeared. Rumble! One of the claws clashed with his blade with a loud clang, being knocked aside as the surrounding other claws rushed madly at him. It's incredibly sturdy. Even my blade cannot break out of this. Luo Feng looked at the surrounding claws, his expression changing. He had initially wanted to attack the body of the centipede immediately. Only this had the highest possibility of shaking and disrupting its energy core within. However, with the claws surrounding it, he had no way to even touch the body. He flapped his wings, dodging over and over before the claws. They were thick and huge, hence Luo Feng could easily dodge and evade them. Break! Not too far away, Heavy Arrow howled. Luo Feng turned to look. Heavy Arrow's energy had soared as he too was surrounded by tens of claws. He had unleashed his amplification technique and wielded his ancient bow, drawing and shooting his arrows. Just the backlash from the bow alone caused the space around to become stream particles. The arrow formed a demonic illusion and were incredibly condensed with energy, almost like two different shots. As the arrow shot out, space split apart. Heavy Arrow Emperor's dual arrow. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. It was one arrow, but it gave off the effect of two. This wasn't the Space Law's illusion technique, but rather the use of his powerful undying energy with law movement. The bow technique he used made it seem like two real arrows were shot out. Back then, when Heavy Arrow was chased by Luo Feng, he didn't even have enough strength to unleash this move. Rumble! The two arrows clashed hard against the many claws, knocking them aside. Rumble! The final arrow hit the stomach portion of the centipede. This was the full power of an Emperor Limit Warrior. Tear! The first arrow forcefully tore at the stomach portion, revealing a wound as the second pierced right through. A huge cavity was left there as the centipede cringed. The claws that surrounded Luo Feng stopped their attacks too and withdrew. That powerful? Luo Feng was shocked. Be careful, master. Heavy Arrow flashed to beside him, communicating, the forbidden guards have powerful defenses. Even invincible emperors have no way to tear through its body. From what I estimate, this one seems to have a weaker stomach portion. It may have other trump cards hidden. Luo Feng was shocked. The two of them swiftly flashed and created distance between them and the centipede. It couldn't be helped, they were in a forbidden space, and it was impossible to escape. Luo Feng carefully examined the twitching centipede. Lightning began to sprout from its torn-up stomach region. Another head forcefully sprouted from the stomach hole as it tore open. The metal began to form a whole other centipede. Stunned. One centipede became two. Cackle. Cackle. The two howled and flew at them. One became two. Don't tell me these two will become four? Luo Feng flapped his wings and flew far away. Cackle. One centipede pierced through the skies, its countless claws climbing in mid-air as the space around it shook violently. It chased Luo Feng, and its speed was pretty fast. However, with Luo Feng dodging with his max speed, even Heavy Arrow was far from his speed. This centipede could never catch up with him. On the other end, another centipede was rushing at Heavy Arrow. Heavy Arrow once again shot an arrow at it. Rumble. 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 His powerful attack shot out. The space about tore apart as the attack knocked away the claws. The final vibrations hit the centipede's stomach. Kai. Its stomach was pierced through. Heavy Arrow rushed angrily straight at the hole. Countless claws madly slashed at him to stop him. But he had long prepared another arrow, easily knocking away all the claws as he took the chance to try and pierce into the body. Just as he reached the hole and as about to rush in, a gold silhouette shot out from the hole, fast as lightning. Even Heavy Arrow had no way to dodge. Dang! It hit directly on his body and the ancient clock armor, knocking him far away. As he was flying backwards, he shot another arrow to break through the other claws obstructing him. Howl! An ear-piercing sound resounded throughout the space, shaking the entire desert. The two huge centipedes stopped and landed on the ground. Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow gathered. What's going on? Why is it so hard? Luo Feng frowned. Heavy Arrow looked at the two, especially the one with the hole in its stomach. It was twitching there with the gold silhouette that popped out before, almost like something was about to reveal itself. Master, he said, the true danger of Star Tower is the hundreds of thousands of emperors. As for its own dangers, even though there are many, it shouldn't be so hard for an emperor limit like me. They are usually insufficient for me to burn my undying body. This time, however, there's something wrong. That centipede with a hole in its head kept twitching at its stomach. Some gold things seemed to be climbing out. From what I know, there's only one reason why it's so troublesome, he said. Speak. Luo Feng felt something was amiss. Heavy Arrow was an emperor limit. If a forbidden guard had to force him to burn part of his undying body, then wouldn't all the pinnacle and high emperors be dead? In truth, Star Tower couldn't be that dangerous. If a battlefield was that dangerous, why would so many emperors come? Star Tower is usually very calm, unless a sealed star is about to release. Heavy Arrow's eyes gleamed with fire. A sealed star is about to release. Luo Feng was stunned. After we settle this guard, you can check with your friends in the virtual universe to see if those in Star Tower have encountered dangers too. Heavy Arrow said. If a large group has encountered trouble, then a sealed star may possibly be released soon. A huge fight is about to occur here. Luo Feng held his breath. Defeating an emperor was easy, sealing was hard and killing was even harder, and the sealed star is a sealing treasure. As long as one was slightly stronger than the enemy, he could use the sealed star to seal his enemy within. The enemy would never be able to escape as its material was incredibly special. Once trapped within, even a knight wouldn't be able to forcefully break out. Of course, it would be much more troublesome to seal a knight. However, it was still a true treasure that was enough to make countless warriors from trillions of races go mad for. There were already many gathered here, while others may rush over. One could only imagine how brutal the bloodshed would be for the sealed stars. Every one of them would invite a huge massacre. Master, you just entered Star Tower and something like this is happening. Looks like you are fated to get the sealed star. Heavy Arrow said. In a slave's heart, his master was the most important thing in the universe. The centipede with a hole in its stomach had its hole enlarged as a gold-armored creature climbed out. It was a 20-meter-long gold-armored scorpion, and its tail was sharp and bent. Heavy Arrow squinted at it. It was this tail that attacked him earlier. The two huge centipedes were each hundreds of kilometers in length. This gold-armored scorpion, however, was only 20 meters long. It was almost like an ant compared to the huge mountains. It gently waved its tail, causing explosions in the space around it. Tears could be seen as its dark blood-red eyes stared hard at Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow. Howl! It let out an ear-piercing howl. Cackle! Cackle! The two huge centipedes obeyed it, lying down respectfully as the scorpion climbed on it, never taking its eyes off Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow. Luo Feng stared back. Master, this gold-armored creature is very strong. I only exchanged a quick blow with it earlier. Heavy Arrow said, even though it doesn't know any laws, its pure attack is still slightly stronger than a pinnacle emperor, and its tail should be its strongest offensive weapon. Luo Feng stared at the scorpion and replied, have you found its weak point? No. Heavy Arrow said, when I fought with the huge guard earlier, I discovered its body regions were weaker, and my arrows could pierce right through. However, it could also be because it was hiding this gold-armored creature within, hence it made its stomach region easier to break out of. As for this creature, its defense is much stronger, and dealing with it will be troublesome. It's not wise to butt heads with it. If we drag out this fight, we may discover the pathway out of this forbidden space, then we can swiftly leave. The guards have no way to leave their own space. Luo Feng stared carefully. He had the feeling that even though the scorpion was staring at the two of them, it seemed more focused on him, and not the stronger Heavy Arrow. Howl! The creature suddenly howled. Rumble! Rumble! In the distance, the two centipedes lying down suddenly moved, both rushing at Heavy Arrow. Of course, because of their size, and Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow were both close by, it seemed like both of them were simply attacking both of them. Luo Feng immediately dodged while Heavy Arrow went another direction. Fight it out with the guards, using flame god crystals? Burning undying body? It wasn't worth it at all. Drag the battle out. Drag it till they discovered a pathway out. Cackle! Cackle! The two huge centipedes called out, both rushing at Heavy Arrow, one on each side. With their huge form, it was almost like two red clouds descending on him, along with the blur of 10 kilometers long claws. It was like a blade forest which was engulfing Heavy Arrow. An ancient clock appeared on his body. He was an emperor limit with an undying body, with the ancient clock protecting him. Even the strongest flame god crystal explosion would hardly even make him lose 1% of his undying body. The two centipedes may seem powerful and capable of suppressing him, but in truth, it was hard to harm even a hair of him. Weird. Luo Feng was stunned as he noticed the two centipedes attack Heavy Arrow. Howl. The gold-armored scorpion which was sitting in the distance finally made its move. It waved its tail like a gold lightning bolt, piercing at Luo Feng. Let's see just how strong this scorpion is. Luo Feng was confident in his defense, plus the scorpion wasn't as huge as the centipedes. Being trapped by them was troublesome. Against this scorpion, however, with just 20 m in size, Luo Feng could easily dodge and escape. The gold scorpion was a gold beam of light, and Luo Feng was a silver beam of light. The two of them instantly clashed. Rumble. A resplendent silver slash clashed with its claw, and the even fast tail of the scorpion formed a gold beam of light, piercing at the unstable Luo Feng, who was flying backwards from the clash. Luo Feng, however, reacted fast enough, waving his wing in front. The sharp tail clashed with the Shou wings. This force that had knocked away an emperor limit earlier caused Luo Feng to be knocked back in a silver beam of light. As for the scorpion, it had hit an immovable wall. The undamaged wings created a huge force back at it. It caused the scorpion to roll backwards for a while. Heavy Arrow is right. He flapped his wings to stop in mid-air, gazing at the scorpion. The tail is indeed powerful. Against such an automaton puppet, the Fei Mo poison is useless. Then receive another attack. Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade and instantly became a beam of light rushing forward. Howl. The scorpion rushed at him too, force against force, it had no fear. Luo Feng raised his blade. The scorpion used its pincers to defend. Luo Feng's right wing flapped hard as he unleashed Moon Policy. One had to know that this pinnacle technique was created for wing usage, and later on adapted for the blade. The scorpion which was defending against his blade was suddenly hit by the silver wing and thrown off balance. As the distance between them was too close. Luo Feng had unleashed it when they had gotten extremely close. The edges of the wing were incredibly sharp, and as a true treasure, its sharpness exceeded any blade. The space around was torn apart almost as though an invincible god had appeared to attack. A silver light followed the tear and slashed at the scorpion's body. As it touched, it became the special space energy of the Shou wings that pierced inwards. Even an undying facing this energy would have his body destroyed somewhat. The defense of the scorpion too naturally weakened. A weird sound, almost like a guillotine slamming into a steel bar, could be heard as the scorpion rolled backwards. The gold armor seemed undamaged, however there was definitely damage within. The scorpion, however, continued to roll into the distant desert until it stopped, lifeless. Cackle. Cackle. The distant huge centipedes immediately flew over. They didn't care about Heavy Arrow anymore. One of which opened its large mouth and swallowed the metal of the scorpion, after which it glanced at Luo Feng and Heavy Arrow before burrowing into the sand. Both centipedes burrowed deep into the sand and calm followed after. Heavy Arrow flew over and landed beside Luo Feng. It was that easy. Luo Feng frowned. Heavy Arrow, who had been watching his fight, said, "Master, I only clashed slightly with its tail earlier. As for his body's defenses, I wasn't clear about it. Your attack earlier did cause damage to its energy core within. It was after all much smaller and the force of the attack could easily reach its core." Hearing his explanation, Luo Feng agreed. Automaton puppets were indeed that way. Destroying their bodies was tough. Normally the only way to deal with them was to destroy their core within. However, he still felt something amiss. Heavy Arrow has never encountered such troublesome guards after so many years in here. It's only my first time, and it's my first forbidden space, yet this happened. Also, the gold scorpion was drawn out by Heavy Arrow. Yet, it chose not to deal with him but rushed at me instead. And I can feel. The gazes of both centipedes and the scorpion have emotions. They were filled with killing intent, and were trying to kill me. Did my coming here arouse their defenses? He frowned, pondering according to the situation before. Even though he could feel the strong calling from the tower, he was unable to become its master. It was completely different form, the soldier, general and king armor. Also, getting a pinnacle treasure like the Star Tower couldn't be that simple. The closer I am to victory, the more careful I have to be. The Star Tower is reacting differently to me. It can mean two things. One is that it's friendly with me, another is that it truly wants to kill me. Luo Feng thought. If I was the creator of the tower, and I left this powerful tool here, I wouldn't casually hand it over easily to the later generations, especially by simply relying on luck. Not possible, even to the most pinnacle of beings in the universe, the Star Tower is still an incredibly huge treasure. Luo Feng's soul could be excited, happy and gleeful, but he always maintained his calm. Knowing oneself, laughing when it was the time, being excited, nervous, angry as needed. Everything was simply being himself, yet it didn't mean that he would lose himself to these emotions, or truly believe that his luck was heavenly, easily getting such a huge treasure like the Star Tower. If he was like that, he would very likely lose his life. I have a feeling. Star Tower may be the place where I die. Luo Feng gazed about the desert-forbidden space. The gold-armored scorpion and centipedes had emotions in their eyes. They were filled with killing intent that made Luo Feng shudder. He wasn't fearful of the guards, rather, of the entire tower. The Star Tower had a master before, and its master may very likely be the creator of the nameless manual. I was lucky in attaining the manual. Don't tell me that the tower is specially used to deal with lucky people like me who got the manual unexpectedly. Luo Feng thought. Success means I'll live. Failure means death. Many thoughts flashed within his mind. Master, I've discovered the pathway. Heavy Arrow shouted, waking Luo Feng from his thoughts. Ah, pathway? Luo Feng looked over. Master, here. Heavy Arrow walked ahead. They quickly reached far away. There in the center of the desert, there was a whirlpool, and within the darkness, there was starlight. This is the pathway. I've been through such pathways many times. Heavy Arrow said. Luo Feng nodded. Let's go. They stepped straight into the whirlpool. This video will end here.